Hey guys, this is Squeaky, and today I just want to talk about audio compression. So, every streamer should know what an audio compression is, how it works, and the benefits of using one. And as soon as you know the basics of audio compression, it is very easy to add one to your own streaming setup to improve the sound experience for your own viewers. So, in order to explain what audio compression is, I've written this blog post, which is a visual guide explaining what audio compression is and why streamers should have one. So if you're interested in reading this blog post for yourself, there is a link in the description below this video that redirects you to this page. But in this video, I'm basically just going to go through this blog post here and talk loud about it. So the first thing I want to do here is to start by looking at the audio mixer in your OBS Studio. So if you open up OBS Studio today, you probably see something similar to this. There are two bars, and the first bar here is the desktop audio, and the second one is the microphone audio source here. And you should notice that when you're talking on stream, the volume changes over time. So it goes up and down, or in reality, it goes from low volume to high volume, as you can see here. And there are different sections in this audio mixer, the green and yellow and red, and you should avoid having any audio in the red zone. So regardless if this is desktop audio or the microphone audio, you should avoid having it in the red zone because you can cause something called audio clipping. But that is something we're going to go in more detail in further down in the blog post. So the next thing I want to do is to rotate this audio mixer so it stands up in a vertical position, and I want to put it next to a sound wave for better visualization. So hopefully this makes more sense on how the volume changes as you speak softly to loudly. So in this image here, you will see that this is a sound wave of me talking, and in the beginning I'm talking very soft, and then I go very loud, and then a bit soft again and very loud, and you can see here how it changes. So this is me talking softly, and this is me talking very loudly. So as I said, you should always avoid having audio in the red zone because it causes something called audio clipping. And audio clipping is something that sounds very terribly for a streamer viewer, and this should be avoided at all costs. So when the audio is here in the red, as you can see here in my example here, when I'm talking normally and suddenly I start to scream and the audio gets clipped and the whole bar becomes red. So in order to show you a demonstration how audio clipping is, I've recorded myself doing this. So before I start this video, I just want to give a warning that high volume will occur now, so you might want to decrease the sound on this video.
Audio clipping should be avoided at all costs as it will give a terrible viewer experience.
So as you can hear here, it sounds really awful, right? And this is because the audio is being clipped. And you don't want to expose this to your own viewers during stream, right? So you want to avoid having any audio going into the red bar here because it will drastically increase the chances of audio clipping. But there is an easy fix to do this. So just because you should avoid being in the red zone here doesn't mean that you shouldn't scream or be excited on your stream. So in order to fix that, there is an easy fix to do this, and this is simply by adding something called an audio compression to your stream. And in order to explain what audio compression is, I've done this image here. So there are two parts here that is very important to explaining what audio compression is, or the two main important parts of audio compressor. And the first part is something called the threshold. And the threshold is at what decimal volume the compressor should kick in. With other words, should be activated. So any sound that goes above this threshold activates the compressor. So if you look at this image here now, you see that this is the graph, and this is the decibel, so how loud the volume is, and this is over time. So let's say I'm starting to scream or become very loud, and this is the green line here. So the first part, as I mentioned, of a compressor is the threshold. So we have to define at what level of loudness or volume should the compressor start to kick in. And this is the blue line here. And this is basically the decibel volume when it should be activated. The second part of a compressor is something called the ratio. And this is basically how the volume should be decreased once the compressor has been kicked in or activated and the volume has gone beyond the threshold. So as soon as the volume here reaches the threshold and goes beyond, then the ratio values here starts to kick in, and this modifies how the volume should be decreased. So our ratio of 1:1 is basically the same level of audio. So with other words, it's like you don't have a compressor at all, right? But if you have any other value like a 2:1 or 4:1 or 8:1, it specifies how aggressive the decreasing should be. So if you have 8:1 ratio, then the audio will be decreased very steeply here. But this is a way to basically allow you to scream on stream, right? And without it going bananas and goes into the red audio clipping zone. And below here, I just have another visualization how this works. So let us go through this as well. So here, this is me talking. So as you see here, that I start to become very loud here. And when I become very loud, it goes into this red zone here. And the compressor kicks in because this is the blue line here. So I've specified that my compressor should kick in as soon as I go beyond this volume. And what the compressor basically does is to make it more soft. So the louder I become, the harder the volume, or the more the volume decreases, so to speak. So as soon as you have a compressor installed in your streaming setup, you can be how loud as you want on stream, right? You can scream during horror games, or you can show excitement as long as you have a compressor in place that will prevent audio clipping. And this is basically how a compressor works, or the purpose of it. So there are multiple ways you can add a compressor for your own stream. For example, if you have a physical device, I know that some mixer boards have a compression knob, but if you don't have a mixer and you use like a USB microphone, you can add one directly as a filter in the OBS Studio. So here I'm just basically going through how to add the most simple compression you can add in your OBS Studio. So the first thing you need to do here is to click on the cogwheel here on the microphone source, and then pick filters, and then you're going to add the compressor filter right here, and then you just basically need to adjust your settings here. And it is impossible for me to tell you what values you should have here, because it depends on your own streaming setup, like your normal mic volume, how you speak normally, or the volume when you speak normally, and how loud you become on a stream. So the best advice I can give you here is basically to be excited and scream into your microphone. I know it sounds stupid, but if you do that, you will notice how the levels will go up in the audio mixer, these levels. And then you just need to fine tune the threshold and the ratio. So when you become loud on your stream, it never goes into the red zone. And that's basically the essence you should do. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you liked the video, feel free to give a thumbs up. And I wish you a continued great day.